Hello, my name is Robert Breaker, missionary evangelist to the Spanish-speaking people. I've been in Honduras for 7 years as a missionary, planted 2 churches, and now I'm working reaching the Hispanic people in the Americas. I'm a fundamental King James Bible-believing independent Baptist, and today we're going to talk about which Bible in Spanish. David Otis Fuller wrote a book entitled Which Bible?, in which he tells us the right Bible in English for us is the King James 1611 Authorized Version, the pure, inspired, infallible, inerrant Word of God in English. But which Bible is the right Bible in Spanish? Many people talk about the Reina-Valera version. But which Reina-Valera version? There's more than one. Is the right Spanish Bible the 1960 Reina-Valera revision? Or is it the 1909, the A la Antigua version? Or could it be the 1865? Or what about the Gomez, the modern Gomez coming out? Or could it be the Valera 1602 Purified? Which Bible in Spanish is the right Bible compared to our King James that's perfect and infallible in English? During my time in Honduras as a missionary, I went there in 1998, took my King James Bible, and I did what everybody else did. I bought a parallel Bible with the King James and a 60. As I read my 1960, I realized the 60 does not read with my King James Bible. I read through the whole New Testament in 3 months. I said, this isn't the same Bible. I found an older version called the 1909, and where the 1960 didn't read with my King James Bible, the 1909 was closer. Almost always. When it didn't read with the King James, usually the old 1569, the old 1602, which I bought facsimiles of in the Honduran Bible Society, read closer to my King James Bible. I began to scratch my head and say, what is wrong with the Spanish Bible? What is the deal here? Why does it seem the older the Bible is, the closer it reads to the King James Bible? I've since studied a lot about the Spanish Bible issue. I've written 3 books about it. You can find on my website more information about the Spanish Bible and the history of it. Now, this is a sad quote by a missionary. He said, I agree truth never hurts anyone, but the battle for the Spanish Bible isn't about truth, it's about politics. Nowadays, in our fundamental independent Bible-believing camps, missionaries use different Bibles in Spanish. And it's not about which Bible's right. Most of the time, it's about politics. It's about groupism. Even in the times of the Apostle Paul, there were people that would claim, well, I'm from this group or I'm from that group. Even today, we see that in more like fundamentalism. We see people going around bragging about which group they come from, and each group uses a different Bible. But should we follow a group, or should we follow the truth? There are many errors in many of the modern Reina-Valera revisions used by fundamentalists. Many fundamentalists and evangelicals today use the 1960 Spanish Bible, which is so popular it's now called the Crown Version. But is the 1960 the right Bible? Which Bible is the right one? Well, as I began to study the 1960, I found this book by Jose Flores, and on page 232, Jose Flores, a consultant on the 1960, says this. He says, one principle added to the first list of the Reina-Valera 1960 Revision Committee was, whenever the 1909, which is what they used, departed from the Textus Receptus, we did not return to the Receptus. They said that they preferentially followed the English Revised Version, the American Standard, the Revised Standard, and the International Criminal Commentary. If you have a 1960 Spanish Bible and you read it, you will see that it is closer to the RSV in English than it is the King James in Spanish. There are many problems and errors in the 1960 Spanish Bible. There's not time to go into all of them, but just quickly looking through here in Luke 2:22, it changes her to them. That makes Jesus Christ in need of a sacrifice. The right texts say her. The Textus Receptus, the critical texts say them. The 1960 is so bad, it leaves Jesus Christ in the grave in 2 Corinthians 4:14 when it says that they shall rise with Jesus instead of by Jesus. Many and many problems and errors in the 1960 Spanish Bible. So is the 1909 better? Well, sadly, the 1909 retains much of the Catholic Vulgate, and it uses the critical texts of Lockman, Tischendorf, Wadsworth. It even has some Westcott and Hort. And the men behind the 1909 later did the Biblia Hispano-Americana 1916, which is based entirely upon Westcott and Hort. The 1909 also has problems in critical text readings. Many problems. One of the biggest problems in the 1909 is Romans 16:1, where it says that it's okay to have women deacons. This is a big problem. A very big problem in the 1909. What about the 1865 that Jeff McCardle has put out? Is that the right Bible in Spanish? They claim it came out before the critical text, but I'll remind you that Lockman and Tregelles had critical text before 1865. And a matter of fact, Mr. H.B. Pratt, the man behind the 1865, put out La Versión Moderna in 1895, which was based entirely upon the critical text, proving this man loved critical text over the Textus Receptus. Are there problems in the 1865? Of course there are. Here's a blaring error in Matthew 14:26 when it changes healed, sanos, to salvos, saved. Here someone touches the hem of Christ's garment and they're saved because of it. That's a doctrinal error. What about the New Modern Gomez Bible? Well, I have the first edition. I also have the second and third and fourth edition of the Gomez Bible. This is the first edition of the Gomez Bible. And look what he does in 1 Corinthians 7, where it says, if any man behaveth himself uncomely toward his virgin, let them marry. Mr. Gomez puts his virgin daughter. Here in the Gomez Bible, you can marry your virgin daughter. Is that not incest? Now, thank God he's changed that in his second edition, but how does something like that even get into a Bible? Someone went and messed with the Bible. It's the Gomez Bible. Another crazy reading in the first edition of the Gomez is this word here, borrachos. Jesus Christ in John chapter 2 at the wedding of Cana of Galilee did what? He went to a party where there were people drunk on fermented liquor. Now how does that get in a Bible? How does that happen? Now we that know the Bible know that they were drinking new wine, fresh from the grape. The Gomez has been through at least 4 different revisions. And as it changes and changes, and I've read and studied, I realize that the Gomez is getting even closer to the 1960. That ecumenical, pro-Catholic 1960. So that people that use the 60 will change to the Gomez much faster. Should we use the Gomez Bible? Is that the right one? There's a problem with all Spanish Bibles. That is, except one, and I'll tell you about that in a minute. But all the Spanish Bibles mess up and have a problem, just like the New Modern Bibles in English. If you've read Gail Riplinger's book, she says that Son of the Morning and Jesus, the new versions of the Bible, give the same name to Jesus as they do to Satan. Well, in Spanish, we have a problem. In Isaiah 14:12, all the Spanish Bibles say Lucero, speaking of Lucifer. And in 2 Peter 1:19, they say El Lucero de la Mañana salga en vuestros corazones, speaking of Jesus Christ. Now, I don't know about you, but I don't have Satan in my heart. There's only one Spanish Bible that does not do this horrendous error, and we'll get to that in a minute. So which Bible? Which Bible is the right Bible in Spanish? Which Bible is the right one? For the Spanish-speaking people to have a pure Bible, they have to go all the way back to the 1602 and 1569. That should be the basis in the beginning. And there's only one Bible whose revision goes all the way back to that. And that's the Valera 1602 Purificada, or the Purified. What is the Valera 1602 Purified? That's the Bible put out by my home church in Monterrey, Mexico, La Iglesia Bautista Bíblica de la Gracia, Grace Bible Baptist Church, who worked over 15 years. And this is Pastor Raul Reyes. And for over 15 years, with prayer and fasting, they studied Hebrew, they studied Greek, they took the King James, and they took the old 1602 and all the older Spanish versions, and they gave the world a Spanish-speaking Bible based on the right text, based on Old Castilian Spanish, and they didn't have any critical text readings in it. Here we see they used the Masoretic text in the Old Testament of Ben Chaim and the Textus Receptus of the New Testament. When it first came out, it was only the New Testament. It was called the 1602 TR for Textus Receptus. The second edition came out in exactly 4,000 years after the 1602. 400 years, excuse me. Now you look up 400 years in the Bible and you'll find some interesting Bible study there. It's been printed under many different covers. It is now the whole Bible, and it's called the 1602 Valera Purificada. Others call it the 1602 Monterey. But it's the only Spanish Bible to take out the Catholic and critical text, and is the purest Spanish Bible available today. It does not call Jesus Christ Lucifer. Cipriano de Valera said the following words in 1602. He said, because it is not right to conform the certain with the uncertain, the Word of God with the Word of men. Now that's what modern versions of the Bible in the Spanish have done. They've taken the critical text, they've taken the old Catholic text, and they've mixed it in with the Word of God. But if you want a pure Spanish Bible, you need to get a 1602 Valera Purificada, the only Spanish Bible that doesn't read with the critical text, a pure Bible in Spanish. Thank you very much. For more information, you can go to rrb3.com, my website, find out more about the Spanish Bible issue. I pray God bless you and keep you, and may this be an edifying, good study for you. God bless you.